Pretty simple. I've got three things I have to do. I'll try to do them as well as I possibly can. First of all, it is to welcome you to the 10th Annual Leadership Conference. You can clap. So in the last 10 years, we have had over 9,000 in the seat that you're in right now. This event has impacted over 9,000 in our college since 2015. We've had it every year except the COVID year. So this is number 10. And we're very excited to have you here for our alums, the industry partners, faculty, staff, and most importantly, our students. Thank you for being here. We certainly appreciate it. A quick shout out to the Miller School of Entrepreneurship and the Risk Management and Insurance Program, who are our sponsors today. Thank you very much. We appreciate your support. Absolutely. So for our students, my second job is to remind you that this is a fantastic opportunity. And I know it's an opportunity that you will take advantage of. That this will be one of the most important learning experiences of the semester, right? It's an extension of the classroom. Lots of individuals have worked very, very hard to make this a first-class opportunity. So my advice is to take advantage of it. So if you heard me speak before, I say, today, I want you to get a minimum of 5 new contacts. I'd say shoot for 10. You could meet someone today who literally changes your life in a professional way, in a personal way. You can meet someone who helps you get that next job. You can meet someone from another city, a place that you want to live. You could meet someone who just becomes a lifelong friend. Take full advantage of the day. I know you will, and do you know how I know that you will? When we started this conference in 2015, it was to create a professional experience. And I think we've done it, not only in this conference, but do you realize in the last 2 to 3 years, students have helped lead a tech summit, a finance conference, an accounting conference, a supply chain summit. In the fall, we have another, in the spring, we have another finance conference. We have another tech summit, the third one, and the word on the street is that we may have a marketing conference in the works at some point, right? So what that shows me is that this is an experience that has not only helped you grow as a professional, but it's actually inspired you to do other things, to create your own events. So mission accomplished, but we're going to keep working hard, right? So second thing is I have to remind you this is a very important event. Take full advantage of it. Again, I know you will. My third job is actually my favorite of the three. I get to introduce our keynote speaker. So I am very proud that it takes a committee. And a quick aside, where is Karen Coos and Lee Brown? Are they in the room? They're in the room somewhere. They're probably working. They're working. There's Lee Brown, and Karen is somewhere working, I'm sure, right? Now, I will say it's a full committee. It is a full committee. But a big time shout out to Karen, to Lee, and their team for making this happen. I get to stand up here. I get to stand up here and speak on behalf of the college, but they are the ones who made this possible, right? So in the last 3 years, I've served in this role. This is my 4th conference. You ready? 3 years ago, the keynote was John May. 2 years ago, Raj Khanna. And last year, Matt Crisp. Hall of Famers. COB Hall of Famers for sure, right? This year, we have a very, very special one because I have a personal relationship. I actually met this leader when she was 16, and I'm very proud to say I helped recruit her to East Carolina University. Very, very proud of that. The accounting department reminds me they helped make sure she stayed here, but I helped recruit her here. So in our college, we do many, many things. But there's 3 words that we take very seriously, regardless of your major, and that is we build leaders. And the 3 I just said are all-time great leaders from our college. I'm very excited that an unofficial theme this year is you can be a leader now. So Taylor Chappell, I have known since she was 16. You're not supposed to say a young lady's age, but I'm going to say it if she's okay with this, right? But Taylor, when I asked her to be the keynote speaker, was 26. She just turned 27 last year. So she graduated from ECU in 2019 with a degree in accounting, was the outstanding graduate in the Department of Accounting, got her MSA in 2020. So she was literally in your seat 5 years ago. She is a great example that you can become a leader early in your career. I would say even before you leave ECU. So some of the things that Taylor accomplished at ECU, right? Multiple honor societies. Fun fact, she was actually the senior class vice president, SGA vice president while she was here, right? I see a president. Where is Katie Council? We have our current SGA vice president, ironically enough, an accounting major. I see a trend line. Yeah. There you are. The other thing, which is amazing, right? So before Taylor graduated from ECU, I mean, she bleeds the purple and gold. Before she graduated, she was already creating a scholarship in honor of professors who changed her life. So you're talking about someone who was a leader before she left our college. She graduated, she worked in public accounting, now she works for Nucor Steel. Third stop, she's in Marion, where she is the controller, rock star controller. Before you know it, she is just going to continue to rise. But the other thing I want to talk about is her service to the university after graduation. So you've heard the things before graduation. So after graduation. So she is a founding member of the Young Alumni Association. So for everyone in the room who's graduating soon, we have a Young Alumni Association that we'd love to have your involvement in. She is actually on the foundation, the board of the foundation of the university that manages our endowment. She is, by my count, the youngest ever to serve on the board. Very, very impressive. And as you heard me say, I've known her since she was 16. She's from this region. There are very few people on this earth who bleed the purple and gold like Taylor Chappell. All right, Pirates, I need a very, very big, warm, and hearty welcome for Taylor Chappell, the keynote for the 2025 Leadership Conference. All right, so a tradition that we started 3 years ago was let's have a fireside chat, right? And at some point, we want you guys to ask questions, but I get to go first. All right, so Taylor, I'm actually going to put this down so I can see you. It's very nice, but I can't see you. All right, so first question. I've introduced you. I've said some fun facts about you, but I know you're from the region. Is there anything you'd like to share about your background? And I want to know exactly, besides me, what attracted you to East Carolina University?
Absolutely. So born and raised in Hertford, North Carolina. It's about an hour and 45 minutes from here. First generation college student, so I'm the oldest of 3 kids. It's actually my sister's birthday today, so happy birthday, Addie, if you're watching. But really just kind of that work ethic and that drive was driven early. My mom was a nurse who worked night shift and spent a lot of time driving us back and forth to ball practice and school events, and just instilled that work ethic early on and said, hey, you have to go get an education and you have to make something of yourself. And so I did. Specifically what pulled me to East Carolina, it's actually funny, I didn't want to go to ECU. I thought it was too close to home. I was an Alabama girl all the way because I liked their softball program, and I wanted to go to the University of Alabama. And East Carolina just pulled me in, offered me this amazing opportunity at the Honors College, was able to attend here for a full ride scholarship, and I knew that that was the best option for me as far as making the right financial decision. Not coming out of school with debt, and that was super helpful. And then when I toured on campus and just met the people that were here and the professors, I just knew this was the right fit. I had that feeling, and you can't turn away from that feeling once you get it. So that grit and that pirate pride is really what brought me into ECU, and just, I can say it's the best thing that ever happened to me, but I did not want to do it at first. So sometimes you need a little nudge.
All right, so the power grid's always important, right? Everybody who knows me knows I love to talk about the power grid. Lots of talent in this room, make no mistake, lots of talent, but our secret sauce is the fact that we will show up early, we'll stay late, we're resilient, we build leaders in our college, and you have the grit to make things happen. So Taylor, obviously you got the full experience while at ECU. I remind everybody at the university, there's 3 things you have to do. You got to get that degree, you got to get involved in the professional experiences, and you have to get involved in the network. So you're a great example of someone early on who got involved in the network and professional experiences. Can you talk about some of the ECU experiences that helped you become a leader early in your career?
Yeah, so specific to ECU, there was a lot of personal things that happened while I was in college that really forced me to grow as an individual. But experiences at ECU, I just said yes to everything. Someone said, "Do you want to be involved in this club?" Yes. What time do I need to be there? Do you want to try out Greek life? Absolutely. Sign me up. When do I show up? So part of that and just being present and really utilizing your opportunities. You don't realize how much opportunity you have outside of the classroom to learn the skills that you need to be successful as an adult. So showing up to your honor society meetings, meeting professionals, and spending the time building those relationships was important. 2 of my favorite people on this earth are sitting right there. It matters. So use that time while you have it. Because as you start your career and become an adult, that time quickly goes away. There's a lot of chores and other things that you have to do that takes a lot of that time away. So use those opportunities and those resources while you have them, because you never know when you will need them and what can come of it.
All right, so last night we had an event in Isley, great event from CEO. Shout out to CEO. And then I had the pleasure of having a meal with Taylor, and I think I dropped her off at the hotel at 10 o'clock, and she had to go up and make some more calls, right? So the other half, right? So after college, someone who jumped in and early in your career advanced quickly and truly is a leader in your organization. Any thoughts, advice on how you become a leader early after you graduate in the organization that you work in?
To me, leader's just a word. That doesn't mean anything. A leader is someone who's humble, who's going to say, "Hey, I don't know, I want to learn, help me learn." So if you want to be a leader and it not just be a word to you, it's about showing up. It's about saying and asking those around you, "How can I help you?" And understanding their story before you walk in and say, "I know what to do," because you don't. You really need that experience from them, and you need to build that partnership with them before you can help them. So it doesn't require a title or a role. It really requires you having the ability to have that conversation and going to bat for those people and saying the hard things. So sometimes you may get asked a question that you don't necessarily think, "Oh, I probably shouldn't say that." Yes, you should. You get paid to have an opinion, and you should say it and use it, because likely what you're saying is what everyone else thinks but is too scared to say. That's a leader to me, someone with courage.
All right, so as you mature as a leader, hard conversations are always important, right? I think you may have had some in the past, right? So I'm going to ask you about lessons, but before I ask you about the lessons that you've had in the last 5 years, thoughts about how to have the crucial conversations that allow you really to accomplish the things that you talked about?
I would say it starts with just being approachable and saying, "Hey, can you help me understand where you're at?" Even in situations where you're having to hold people accountable for actions that don't align with your values or with company policies, it still should start at a conversation. You should want to understand their story, what happened, because a lot of times there's a lot more to it than what you know. You may just see the action, but you don't see all of the things in their background, their personal life that's happening that may have caused them to slip or make a mistake at work. So it's really about understanding. And once you have that understanding, then approaching it from, "Hey, this is why it matters." Once people understand the why behind it, they tend to get on board. And if they don't, then you know they're not the right fit for your company. So it's really about the approachability, understanding where they're coming from and meeting them where they are, but also being able to have those expectations and hold them accountable to those expectations.
So again, a big theme this year is that you can be a leader now. That we have been very proud that we've had lots of seasoned leaders who have served as a keynote. But for Taylor, she is the youngest keynote we've ever had. But it's intentional, right? It's intentional because she's earned that right. She is a leader, and she's done it early in her career. And as I look out, I see a lot of different faces, but I see a lot of young faces. And sometimes when you think about a leader, you think, well, it's something I have to earn in my 30s, my 40s, my 50s, but it's something that you can do now. You can do it in the classroom, in your organizations, on our campus, but it's something early in your career that you can do. So Taylor, some early lessons. It could be good, it could be challenging. Some of your early lessons as a professional and as a leader who was advancing quickly.
For sure, just the piece about understanding where people are coming from. Like if you jump straight in to accountability and say, hey, you didn't follow this policy, you're out the door, that doesn't reflect well on you. It also doesn't give them a sense of you care about them. So that understanding is really tied to, do you care about people? And if you care about people, your actions will reflect that. So that was a lesson from the jump, because I love people. But sometimes if you don't display that in a way, that's not what they pick up. That's not their perception of you. And that's important. That's more important than what your intention is the perception that people see and feel from you. So when you walk in a room, you should shift the energy, and you should shift it in a good way. People should light up. They should smile. They should feel comfortable around you. And that is a big lesson to take away. If you do nothing right in your career, you never move roles, and you're in the same position your whole career, if you walk in a room and light up, the room lights up, and they love you, you're a leader. You don't need a title to be a leader. So that's an easy, early on, just career move. And most of the time, that means they're going to pick on you when you walk in the room, just a heads up. That happens a lot, especially if you go somewhere that is not in the South and you have a Southern accent. But that's just one key piece. As far as good lessons, say yes, even when it feels scary. If it doesn't feel scary, you're not working hard enough. Saying yes has made all the difference. So I went Big Four, public accounting in DC, and I just hated it. It wasn't for me. It is a great opportunity and experience for a lot of people, but I just knew it's not where I wanted to be. It didn't have that home feeling that I wanted in the family culture piece. I was missing it, and it was during COVID, so everybody was probably missing it at that point. But I said yes to Nucor, and I had no idea what I was getting into. I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina, which is still a good 5 hours from my family. Never had been to Charlotte before. And said yes, and it's the best career move I've made. Loved it. I spent 2.5 years traveling around to different divisions all across the United States. And then they asked me again, hey, do you want to move to South Carolina? And I thought, well, I don't know, but yes. And it's terrifying, and you can cry the whole car ride there. No one will know, but you have to do it. And you have to take those opportunities. If you're not scared, you're not trying hard enough.
So you talked about that you've been to D.C., you've been to Charlotte, you've been to South Carolina, now you're in Ohio, right? So I get the pleasure of traveling with students all the time. And a big objective of our travel is to show our pirates that ECU degree can take you as far as you want to go. If that's Greenville, it's fantastic. If it's Raleigh, if it's Charlotte, if it's New York, if it's Chicago, if it's Ohio. Thoughts about the courage, the tenacity that you have just to try other places? Thoughts that you want to share about as they graduate soon, that the willingness, as you say, to go for it?
Yeah, it's going to be terrifying. It is terrifying. Every time I get a call, hey, do you want to move somewhere new? It's terrifying every time. It never gets better. It never gets easier, but you still do it. I would say the move to Ohio was rough. I drove up in a snowstorm with no ice scraper. So you can imagine my shock and white knuckling the wheel all the way there. But we made it work. And as you move and try new places, you'll see that there's a difference in culture, but bring yourself. So don't change to meet that environment. The Midwest has a different personality standpoint. They're great people, but they're not warm and bubbly and intensity level at 11. So it took some getting used to and some adjustment, but don't be afraid to not show up as you. You don't have to fit in or be anybody outside of who you are, because your unique skill set and personality is the only thing that's going to make you successful. You have to be authentic. If you're not authentic, there won't be a person in that room that trusts you or wants to be on your team. So no matter what, you have to be yourself. And as you say yes to opportunities and try new things, remember that. Like, you have to be okay with you.
Very well said. So the thing I've learned, and those who know me know I love to talk, right? But I do want to pause for a second, because I'm very proud to say that we had 1,000 people sign up for this conference. 1,000 people. Yes, well done, well done. Thank you very much. We're very proud of you guys. But what that says is that you want to be actively involved. So I've got more questions, but I do want to have some interaction from the audience. So I'm going to actually pause for a second to see if there is a question or two from the audience before I ask a couple more. So I think there's microphones maybe somewhere. All right, so while we grab a microphone, use mine.
Yeah. Anybody got a question?
Jenna.
Is this on? Oh, hi, Taylor. Okay, so I'm the vice president of our Young Alumni Council here at ECU, and she is the founding member. Tell us about saying no. She had to step down. She became emeritus. She does 5 million things for ECU. Tell us about saying no in your career and what really moves the needle and what matters.
It has to align with where you're at. So for me, saying no is hard. It's something I'm working on, because I like to say yes and I like to be involved, but you can't give 100% effort to everything. If you have 20 things in the air, one of them's going to fall. You just can't do it. So you have to be willing to say, okay, where do I add value, and where do I have a team behind me that has enough rock stars and superstars on it to keep it going, that they don't really need my attention. And that's how I try to prioritize. So the Young Alumni Council is well off without me. They have great leadership, and they're doing really good things, which I hope all of you will be a part of. But it's hard to walk away, because you invest so much time and energy into it, and you love it, and you want it to succeed. But sometimes it will succeed and grow at a faster rate with fresh ideas, new leaders involved. And so sometimes you do have to walk away. From a job standpoint, you just have to know when it aligns. So before I moved to South Carolina, I had 2 other divisions reach out and ask me to go there, and I said no to those. And at the time, I just felt like, hey, I haven't fully gotten the experience out of this role that I want. I think there's more to learn. There's an opportunity to be a leader among my peers in the group, and I want to experience that before I move on from here. And so you'll know innately, is it the right timing or is it not? And the whole what if scenario, don't worry about what if, you'll never know. So just do what you want to do anyways. But yeah, sometimes you have to say no, and that's okay. Just turn your back and walk away and watch it grow from a distance.
Hi, Taylor. How's it going?
Going good, Karen.
So you mentioned briefly that you spent some time in Big Four accounting in D.C. Can you talk a little bit about what you learned from your time there as it pertains to leadership, specifically what you didn't like and how that built you as a leader? Absolutely.
So Big Four during COVID. So I moved to Washington, D.C., knowing no one, and then found out that my job would be completely remote. So didn't have a good opportunity to meet people in the area or just meet my team really well. There's a personal interaction that you get being face-to-face that you just don't get through the computer. So it was a great company. I learned a lot from a technical standpoint as far as accounting goes, and walkthroughs and all the accounting things that you need to know. Great experience. But I didn't feel like I was making an impact, and that really bothered me. I couldn't see how it translated. I didn't get a chance to meet with the clients. I met with my team once a week for 30 minutes, but I didn't feel like I was a valuable player on that team, and that bothered me a lot. For me, if you're not impacting people, no point in getting up. No point in waking up that morning because you haven't done anything. You have not made the world a better place if you're not leaving an impact on someone else. And I knew this wasn't going to work out. I was miserable. So I was also terrified because everyone thought I was absolutely insane for wanting to leave Big Four. But I found Nucor, and I said immediately from the interview, these people care about me. They actually asked me for an interview question. I'll never forget it. It's the best interview question I've ever heard. What's the best thing you've ever done? It doesn't have to be work-related. It could be personal. It could be work-related. Doesn't matter. And that to me said, okay, you want to know who I am as a person. You don't care about my degree or my accolades or anything like that. You want to know who I am, what drives me. And that's the type of company that you want to work for. Somebody that wants to drive you as a person and not as a robotic hand or a technical expert, because at the end of the day, that doesn't matter. You get replaced very quickly. What matters is the personal connection you left and how you left those teammates better off. There's somebody in my shoes right now at every division I've already been to, and they're doing a great job. So the technical side doesn't matter. It's, do you want to be there? Do you want to work with those people? And do they make you feel valued, like you're a part of the family? I should have known I would walk into that one. My answer then, and it's still the answer now, would be creating that scholarship. It's very near and dear to my heart. I'll share a personal story, and I apologize if something drops out, because it's pretty deep. School was always the place I felt safest. So my household was tumultuous. It was very hot and cold, up and down all the time. And so school is the one place where I felt like I've got this. This is down pat. I know exactly what I'm doing, and I can shine. And so to be able to do that for someone else, that matters. And if you want to know what success is, you do something that people laugh at you about and that people say you're crazy for doing. But you did something that made someone else's life a little easier.
So last I knew of Nucor, they were a very growing company. So my question for you is, now that you've found a corporate culture that you like, how do you see your career trajectory? How far do you want to take it, and how fast do you think you'll get there?
Well, I'd like to stay with my current team for longer than 8 months. So shout out to Marion. I hope I stay there for a very long time, a couple years at least, which is a very long time in Nucor history, just so we're clear. They like to move you around pretty quickly. Nucor is a great company, and as long as you are willing to relocate and grow, the sky's the limit. So if they ask, I'll go. That's the answer. Eventually, I'd like to see myself as a GM at a division. So right now, as a controller, you're basically the person that oversees all of accounting, HR, and a little bit of like an IT space. I'm not a guru, so don't ask any technical questions, but you oversee those teams. So if something was to happen to our GM, I'm technically the next person in line, which is terrifying. But I'm doing it. So the trajectory really would be continue to be a controller at the division, help my team grow, master that opportunity, and then wherever Nucor says we need you next, whether that's at a bigger steelmaking division or if it's at a product division, I'll go. So I know that doesn't really answer because it's not a true trajectory, but that's kind of how the real world works. There is no plan. You just do it when it happens. So as far as like, if you try to get locked into planning your career and what it will look like in 2 years, you need to let go of those molds, because I was that person, and it doesn't work out that way. And opportunities just happen when they happen, and you seize them when they come.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First, I want to thank you for coming here and speaking with us and giving us great lessons for us to take home. My question for you is, as I am looking to go to a different area and learn from a different community, what were your ways of getting involved in your community and learning and finding new people, especially feeling alone in those new areas?
Absolutely. So I've had the privilege to work with a lot of great people, and so I have a work family everywhere I go. And the Nucor culture follows. So they all have slightly different pieces, but it follows. So we share values in that space. And if you work for a company that has your personal values, that should happen as well. So you'll have people in those areas that you can lean on and talk to when you move places, but also just get involved. So like if you like to exercise, start going to the same studio and you'll meet friends that way. Start putting yourself out there. There's tons of opportunities now where they have like social clubs in cities that you can be a part of. The Alumni Association is also a great opportunity. When I lived in Charlotte, I was a part of the Alumni Chapter in the Charlotte area, and that was a great way to just get involved. Not necessarily people in your career path or that have the same interests as you, but good-hearted people that like to cheer on ECU football. So just utilize all those resources. If you're in a city, it's a little bit easier because there tends to be more things going on, but the opportunities are there if you put yourself out there. You just have to be courageous enough to show up. And that first time is hard. But once you do it, it gets a little bit easier. You see familiar faces, and people are kind. People are generally kind.
Hi, thank you so much again for being here and just taking the time out of your busy schedule to share your experiences and your advice with us. I know you shared a lot about how you view leadership and kind of just your personal take on it, but being a very young leader, how do you approach gaining the respect of people who are senior to you? And yeah, basically that's my question.
Yeah, that's pretty much followed me. So my first role was pretty much all of us out of college, so we were all peers, essentially. But at South Carolina and at Marion, my team is older than me or similar to my age, and that you have to be cognizant of. It doesn't impact your ability to lead, but you do have to be cognizant of it, and you have to respect that their years of experience is just as respectable as your degree or your experience, and so you're all on the same team. You're a team player. Just because my title is controller doesn't mean that I should make any decisions without involving my entire team. Like if they're not bought in and they don't agree, I'm not doing it. Because they're the people that are doing that task or being engaged and having to plan behind the scenes. And so for me to make a decision without involving them, that's not right. So it's more so using those values to drive your decision making. You know what your values are. We're all in this room. You have good values. You wouldn't be a pirate if you didn't. Use them.
My turn again. So the interesting thing about Taylor is that we started the leadership curriculum back in 2013. We started the conference, as you heard, back in 2015. She is actually the first keynote at the leadership conference who went through our leadership program since it was started. So that helps answer that question that you are prepared to be a leader early in your career. If you engage in the experiences that's provided, I promise it won't be easy, but I promise that you'll be ready, right? Show up early, stay late. Another add-on here is that just within our college, we have 30,000 plus alums all throughout this country. We're very strong in the Southeast, of course. That gets back to the value of getting involved in the network early, because you hear me say all the time, it's pirates supporting other pirates, and that's true, right? So if you go to Charlotte, if you go to Atlanta, if you go to Ohio, you can find pirates everywhere, and they take care of each other. So that's very important. So here's my question. So as I look out, I am honored to work with an amazing faculty and staff, right? We have leaders in our college that are fantastic to work with. But make no mistake, the thing that inspires me every single day are our students. I look out here and I see young, bright professionals, and I just imagine the career path ahead of you. That inspires me. If it was the event from last night, if it's the county conference, the summit, I travel all the time. Watching our students grow inspires me. You guys inspire me. The fact that you're here inspires me. So Taylor, what inspires you?
You in this room. I went to the CEO meeting last night and heard from several alumni on the panel that were absolutely inspiring. Like their stories and their advice was spot on. But you guys are just so full of energy and so much better than I was that it's intimidating to be in a room with you. Like I don't even think you realize how much the program has advanced. Every year they get better and better, and you have the best group of professors and staff that pour into you every day, and you're ready. You're ready right now for any career. I'd hire any one of you. You guys are inspiring because that means that the next generation is smarter, has a better personality, just overall is a person that I think, yes, they're going to make this world a better place. They're going to make an impact because they're not afraid to ask the hard questions. They make decisions that show they have fire in their belly and they're ready to go after it. You guys are inspiring. You're the next generation, and one day when you're up on the stage, you'll be looking back at this room thinking, wow, they're way better than I was. And that's the best thing that can happen, is that continues to be the trend. We just continue to get better and better.
Hello? Oh, there you go. Hey, Taylor, thank you for your time today. Even just from hearing your very heartwarming story, I can tell you're an incredible person, right? And you continue to hit very large milestones and succeed in your field. It's kind of similar to Dean Harris's question, but my question for you is, what is your why? And do you have any advice for us being students about to go in the career force, right, for ways that we can find our why that'll, push us through those late nights, right, like your 10 o'clock calls, and, go that extra mile so that we can really succeed in our fields?
Yeah, I'll answer that by saying every day is a series of decisions. And you may think that I didn't have a choice, I had to be here. No, you didn't. You could have slept in. You made a choice to be here, and that's a short-term choice, but you're playing a long-term game. So in that game, what do you want it to look like? And that matters. All of those series of short decisions and those short choices builds a habit, a pattern of how you show up. So today, you made a decision to show up. You showed the effort. But tomorrow, when nobody's watching, what's your decision? Are you going to class? Are you studying? Are you putting in the time? Because that's all it takes. There's nothing special about me. I put my pants on the same way everybody else does. I make a series of choices, and it's discipline, it's effort, and it's a little bit of a chip on your shoulder as to say, I'm going to prove you wrong because I can, and I will. But that decision is the drive. So when it's late nights, because a work-life balance is never 50-50. We'll just throw that out there. That doesn't exist. Some days it'll be 80% work, 20% fun. And some days you'll have a whole weekend day and you'll not open your computer. But what drives me in the why is the building of a legacy. And what I want people to remember about me has nothing to do with the title on my desk or the amount of teammates that reported to me. It's how I make people feel. And it's that, did I make someone else's life a little bit easier? And that's the why. So the late night calls, did I have my teams back? Did I show them and I earn their trust every day? Because you do earn the trust every day and you lose it in a second. Those short-term choices that you make build your long-term habits. And if you keep that in your mindset as you're going about your days, you'll build a habit that you're proud of, and you'll be able to look in the mirror and say, I did my job.
All right, excellent questions. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate that. We do have other sessions because we could keep going literally for the rest of the day. So as you can see, back 11 years ago, when I had a chance to meet this young lady and to show her around the campus and help sway her from the University of Alabama to ECU, go Pirates, it is a very proud achievement, right? Honors, thank you very much. You helped close the deal. A wonderful friend and partner of our college, right? But that literally at some point in the future, every single individual in this room will have a story where you could sit up here with us in the future. You inspire us, keep working hard, keep showing up early, staying late. Taylor, thank you so much for those kind words, for those smart words, for those very inspiring words from a young leader, right? So again, in this room, do not think you have to be my age to be an effective leader. You can be an effective leader early in your career. So all throughout the day, I want you guys to ask questions. I want you to listen. I want you to learn. I want you to be actively involved. And meet at least 5 or 10 people that you get their LinkedIn account, you get their number, right? And you stay connected. That's very important. So before we close out, because we do have some other sessions, we do have a gift for Taylor, right? So in typical pirate pride, we got to go loud and proud, right? So Taylor, if you look behind you, we have a gift for you. That will look great either in your Nucor office or at your house, right? Let's go Pirates.
Thank you.
So we also have another tradition we started 3 years ago. So we like to do a selfie. So I'm going to invite Emily to come up. Taylor and I are going to do the crossbones, and we need your help, right? All right, so don't you guys smile. You can do crossbones. You can do whatever you like. We're going to do a selfie. This is going on the website. Yeah. Stand up, please. Yes, thank you. All right, are we ready? Pirate Pride.
Here we go. We're going to take a couple.
Yeah, yes, hold up, not quite. So this started last year. It's a very important component of the day. So starting at 12:45, we actually have a career fair. So we will have a reception before the career fair, but the career fair will start at 12:45 in the ballroom that's behind us. At 12:45, it's our juniors, our seniors, and our graduate students. They go in first. So again, take full advantage of the day. It's a great day to be a pirate. And let's once again thank Taylor. Thank you, Taylor. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Enjoy your day. Let's go Pirates.